Game you just enjoyed, unless you're a fan of that man and this team. Thunder had 0.1% chance to make the playoffs entering the season. Rudy Gobert back and making a difference here. Gobert and Anderson. They dap each other up. All right. Then it's Gobert on the alley-oop. Timberwolves grab a double-digit lead in the first half, but Minnesota has lost 19 games this year after leading by double digits. You keep their eye on the prize. Karl-Anthony Towns up top. Gobert, no. Gobert, yes. Significant elbow here. Inadvertent. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets conked right on the eye. Heads to the locker room to get looked at and would return in just a bit. I'm not saying it's not significant. I mean, hockey guys are like, yeah, and? It's an 8-point lead. Karl-Anthony Towns, bucket +1, and they move the lead back to double digits. Towns, again, that's cash money. He had 11 in the third. There's a triple off the rebound. Actually, it's Karl-Anthony Towns put back, beg your pardon. And here comes a three, and this is really what you want to see if you're a fan of the Timberwolves. That's Anthony Edwards. Let this guy get warm, and it's a whole different squad. Anderson, again, Gobert. And Gobert does the hard part here. That's not a great pass on the alley-oop. I know 7-footer, you can throw it pretty much anywhere. Woo, 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 outlet. Again. Good look. Conley. This is like you ought to get a hockey assist on this. Baseball pass to Cat. And here's the victory and the winner, Karl-Anthony Towns with Lisa Salters.
Carl, for folks tuning in to see drama, any kind of drama from your team, all they really saw was domination. How were you guys able to make it look just so easy tonight compared to Tuesday?
Yeah, we executed at a high level, stayed disciplined. Like I said before in our shoot-around, you know, we just utilized our advantage with size. So did a great job tonight utilizing that to our advantage. We got the job done. Now we got to get ready for Denver.
What were you doing? What were you guys doing collectively, defensively, that kept their shooters so quiet?
I think we just did a good job contesting, just pressuring them. We just did a good job, like I said, being disciplined and executing our game plan. We did a really good job of that. We made some shots. It just worked out really well. It was a great team win tonight.
Mark Jackson calls him old reliable, but Mike Conley says he's just proud to be out here competing with these young guys. But what impact did he have on this game tonight, and what has he had on this team? I
mean, just, you know, his experience, his maturity, his pedigree, it helps us every single day be better professionals, be better players. On the court, you know, he just, like I said, this is a great discipline win tonight, and he helps with that discipline. So his maturity, his experience helps us a lot.
And you said it, the #1 ranked team in the West, Denver is next. Just what is going to be the key going up against them?
You know, just doing what we do best. If we can execute and be disciplined like we were tonight, I feel good about our chances. We just got to go out there and execute at a high level. You know, it's going to be a hard-fought series, so we got to be ready for wars.
Thank you, Carl. Good luck to you.
Yep, appreciate it.
Three little things on a big Wolves victory. You heard Karl-Anthony Towns mention it. Using size to their advantage, they outscored the Thunder 58-30 in the paint. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander thrived in the season, driving it all year long. But in this one, he went just 3 of 14 in the paint. Did get to the free throw line a decent amount. The win gets the Wolves back to the playoffs for a second straight season. First playoff streak since a run of 8 in a row, which ended in 2004. That 04 campaign happened to be the last time Minnesota actually won a playoff series. Ends poorly, but man, is it a great glimpse into the future of a team that I know Tim Legler and myself and a lot of you have enjoyed watching play. They're 23. They're getting Chet Holmgren next season off of an injury. They got 13 first-round picks in the next 5 years. Presti and the Thunder have been stacking them up through the years. All right, here's a look at what we've got coming up. Nuggets, Wolves, Grizzlies, Lakers. That should be fun. Suns, Clippers, and speaking of fun, Sacramento getting geared up for the Warriors. How about it? All right, Tim Legler joins us to First, break down what we saw this evening. Obviously, Minnesota gets Gobert back. Look, they were competitive at Los Angeles without him. The biggest difference in the Timberwolves' performance tonight is they knocked off this team that you and I both like in the Thunder. What was it?
Karl Anthony Towns alluded to it, Scott, in a post-game interview. They were just too big. That's the difference. OKC is a very small team up front. They're scrappy, they fight, they compete. But at some point, when you put two physical presences like Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert in the paint and on the offensive glass, it was just too much for them. Those guys combined had half as many rebounds as their Oklahoma City's entire team. 7 offensive rebounds to boot. And everything that they needed to convert in the paint, they did. That was the biggest difference. And also, Anthony Edwards showed up. He had a really tough game the other night. He played much better. They need his explosiveness on the perimeter. But as I was watching the game, it just was obvious pretty early that this team was just too big, too physical in the paint for a team in Oklahoma City that absolutely maxed out who they were this year, but ultimately ran into a team that just physically overwhelmed them.
They get Denver next. You've been emphatic all year about just how much regard you have for the Nuggets. Now, there are no 16 seeds in the NBA. And I think you can make a case for Minnesota with some veterans and a Connolly and a Gobert. They've been through some series. They got star power in Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. But does this feel to you, Tim, like a true 1-8 matchup?
It doesn't really, because I think a couple of reasons. I think, Scott, yes, I've loved Denver all year. I think a lot of people have probably not given them as much respect as they deserve in a Western Conference where everybody was always waiting for that next team to load up and go catch them. I don't like the fact they were 7-10 in the last month of the season. That's
right.
Not a great way to go into the playoffs, and Jokic missed a chunk of time. So it's been a while since Denver was right and whole and playing meaningful games, and now they take on a team that basically just had to play 2 Game 7s, and now you get a team that's got guys with playoff experience, as you mentioned, with Gobert and Conley, and explosive talent around them with Edwards and Towns. So this is not really a typical 1-8, but nothing in the Western Conference is typical in the first round when you look at the teams that are, playing on the road initially. It's a very strange year in the West, and Denver is going to get a tough test, I think, in the first round.
Has to make you smile to see a guy like Strus, a shooter, do his thing and go for 31. But look, Miami's going to go as Jimmy Butler goes. How impactful and specifically impactful, Tim, was he in their win tonight against Chicago?
Yeah, look, they were in some deep water there late third, early fourth quarter. I mean, it looked like Chicago was taking control of the game, and then Jimmy Butler became the best player on the floor. He made every play down the stretch, and Scott, he did it all 3 platforms. He did it as a scorer, as you're going to see right here. He looks at the weak side of the defense. There's 7 guys above the foul line. He watches Caruso take a peek over that screen, and when his head turns left, Jimmy Butler goes the opposite direction, drives baseline. There's not a big under the rim because Vucevic is lifted. He knows he can get all the way to the rim and finish. So that's one level as a scorer. Then he does it as a defender. Great job right here. Reading the outside passing lane, Levine throws the ball to the wrong hand. Jimmy Butler with his steal gets a layup going the other way. And you see how big these buckets are, time and score. And then this one, as a facilitator, that last platform, all eyes on him on the weak side of the floor. Strus does a great job of waiting until the last second to make this cut. We call that a late find. Jimmy Butler also had a kick-out 3 to Strus later. That was really the nail in the coffin. So Jimmy Butler seized the moment. He became the best player on the floor where they absolutely had to have it because a couple other guys had rough offensive nights. So someone was going to have to take over. Was it going to be DeRozan, Levine, or Butler? Butler was the guy that got it done. He outplayed both of Chicago's stars.
I think a lot of people are enjoying what this play-in is, and all it does is set the grid, and that's something you and I will talk about in a moment, so don't move, all right?
You got it.
All right. Well, we continue. NBA